Hi, I'm Joseph Fenwick from the Dirty Hands of the Republic and retired Houston police officer. I was a full and part-time instructor for HPD since 2001, including a tactical firearms instructor. I was also a police officer for 29 years. I wanted to make this tactical brief for all officers who carry a shotgun on duty. First thing, I can't stress enough how important it is to pattern your shotgun, meaning taking the buckshot that you carry on duty to the range, shooting at least 2 rounds while holding center mass on the target at about 15 yards. Look at the target where the buckshot patterns. If you're shooting high, low, left, or right, correct accordingly with at least 2 or 3 more rounds. If the buckshot hits in a different place each time, it's probably you causing it. Just take the thump and squeeze the trigger. I saw hundreds of different shotguns fired while I was a range instructor. I noticed that shotguns don't send buckshot downrange exactly the same. I've seen the same brand shotgun with the same type barrel patterned differently many times, meaning some patterned higher, some lower at longer ranges. Longer ranges for a shotgun, that is, from 15 to 25 yards. But almost all the failures to qualify with a shotgun that I saw was simply because officers had not patterned their shotgun and the pellets impacted outside the target scoring area. But 100% of the officers that I failed were able to pass after I had them pattern their shotgun and then shoot with the correct hold on the target. Not only will this help you qualify, but it surely might save your life on the street or keep you from sending several .32 caliber buckshot pellets flying somewhere in the ward. Okay, that nothing good can come of that. Contrary to popular belief, a shotgun with buckshot is not as effective as a lot of people think. At the range, I spoke with 11 officers who had deadly force encounters while using a shotgun. 8 of the officers and sergeants had failures to stop of one sort or another. One sergeant had engaged 2 different suspects with shotguns on 2 separate occasions. Both times, he had failures to stop. This information prompted me to do a lot of research on shotguns and buckshot while I was teaching at the range. I think these failures to stop are because the types of buckshot being used by police. And what I mean by failure to stop is the threat is not immediately stopped. And if the suspect had desired, could have continued to use that deadly force that they were using or about to use. Stopping a threat means the threat goes to the ground and is unable to continue to use deadly force. A threat who is shot and runs away is not stopped. Just because the threat to that officer has diminished, the threat is certainly still a threat to other people. Remember, double-aught buckshot is made up of 9, some cases 8, .32 caliber round balls called pellets. These aren't much different than the round balls that were used in muzzle-loading rifles and pistols during the American Revolution. With today's manufacturing and technology, they are rounder and they're more symmetrical. And some are plated with various metals like copper to help them retain their shape and their weight when striking soft tissue. But that's about all the improvements. Each buckshot pellet weighs just over 50 grains. When the pellets spread out and the temporary wound channels are not touching, each pellet is configured individually. A single buckshot pellet only impacts with around 70 to 90 foot-pounds of energy, about the same as a black powder .32 Derringer. But if the pattern of buckshot is tight enough, then the pellets will be configured on an exponential curve. The impact is equal to the force of one 400-plus grain bullet, anywhere from 1,900 to 2,400 foot-pounds. Now that's the same energy as a big game rifle. Here are some targets that I patterned with my shotgun while conducting research as a range instructor. First, we have some simple buffered-only shells of various brands. I used a Remington 870 with a 20-inch barrel and a modified choke. First up is Remington Express, which is used by hunters and police officers all across the U.S., shot at 7 and 15 yards. You see, the spread opens up a lot from 7 to 15 yards. Next is the Winchester Razor Boar, Again at 7 to 15 yards. Even at 7, the spread is the size of your hand. And at 15, there were 2 flyers. Now another Winchester buckshot, the Ranger, low recoil double-aught buck. At 70 yards again, you see the spread is already happening. Then at 15 yards, it is even more significant. Reinforcing why patterning your duty shotgun is so important, as well as finding shells that work best in your shotgun. Now, 2 different Hornady shells. The Critical Defense is an 8-pellet buckshot, while the Superformance that I used at the time was a 9-pellet buckshot. Now I believe both types are 8-pellet. Both shells use the Hornady Versatite wad. At 7 yards, the Superformance, 8 of 9 pellets went through an 1.5 inch hole along with the Versatite shot cup, with 1 flyer slightly to the right. Then at 15 yards, the spread is about what buffered-only buckshot was at 7 yards. Now the Hornady Critical Defense, 8-pellet buckshot. All 8 pellets are within a 3/4 inch hole at 7 yards. You can see the Versatite wad impact just above the buckshot. And at 15 yards, similar results to the Superformance shell, a very tight pattern. And lastly, Federal Premium Tactical. This uses another proprietary control wad called Flight Control. Here, Federal Premium at 7 yards, wadding and buckshot all through the same hole. Even more impressive is the shot pattern at 15 yards, the smallest group yet. Then the Federal Tactical Flight Control at 25 yards, having almost the same spread as buffered shot does at 15 or even some at 7. Then just to test the limits of the Federal, I shot it at a 50-yard target. Still, 5 of the 9 pellets were in the target, but this clearly demonstrates the limited range of shotguns, where 4 pellets flying who knows where. The Federal buckshot is slower than the Hornady. The Federal Premium Tactical is around 1,145 feet per second at the muzzle, where the Hornady is around 1,600 feet per second. This is probably the reason the Hornady spreads out slightly faster than the Federal. This is also where I calculated a range from 1,900 to 2,400 foot-pounds, assuming for the extra speed of the Hornady, because it's an 8-pellet buckshot, and the greater weight of the Federal being 1 pellet heavier. Thanks for watching this video. I tried to give you as much empirical data as possible in this video. Of course, some of your opinions may vary. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Also, tell me how your shotgun patterns and which buckshot you use. See you in the next Tactical Brief.